Oh, good girl. So this is my dog.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of my podcast, Tom Sips into Conversation. This week on the episode I have Maddie from the Posh Pet Kitchen. Today I am on a little dog walk with Joy and Mocha. It's a bank holiday Monday, so and it's absolutely lovely. It's so hot today right now, it's really nice. We recorded this conversation the 3rd of February. It was the day before my birthday. So we're walking because there's a few people around. So yeah, we're on a lovely little walk near some, like a little wooded area near our house. Kind of fittingly speaking to Maddie, who owns the Posh Pet Kitchen, and she makes amazing bespoke dog food and dog treats. This is coming out the same week as we've had Mocha for a whole year. So she's now, what, a year and 2 months? Yeah. In this conversation we talk about how she started up her own business, how she wants to have a really transparent dog food business, a bit like how human food is starting to become a lot more transparent. She talks about a website that you can go and check out to check out different dog food and the nutritional value scales from 100, which is really good and surprising sometimes. We talk about tips on feeding your dog and how important it is to have a routine. And we also talk a bit about how she got her own dog. We also have a bit of a conversation between getting a puppy and also getting a rescue dog as well. So I'll be back in the middle with a little update from Maddie herself, and then I'll be back at the end with just a little bit more chat. But for now, we sip into the conversation with me asking how she got into making dog biscuits.
Really, I've always wanted my own business, and really, to be honest, I saw a bit of a gap in the market for a product that I'm still working on. It involved making my own, basically a dog treat company. So I started looking into making your own dog treats and all the things that you have to make, because obviously making them is one thing, and it's quite hard making them and making sure that they kind of are things like being grain free and stuff like that. Obviously making with like wholemeal flour and stuff is the easiest way to go, but it doesn't mean things are grain free. And obviously there's a big fad not a fad, but in the dog industry a lot of people want grain free food now, so wanting to make them in the right way as far as a business ethos. But then also from a business perspective, there's so much more involved that you just wouldn't even believe. So I started looking into that, and basically, it took me about a year of development from first coming up with the idea, and I got some funding from the government, so from the government loan scheme. And it took me about a year in development of going through, because you have to get a DEFRA license. Even if you're just baking in your own kitchen, you have to get loads of different licenses for all sorts of stuff. And then coming up with all of the products and doing everything properly, and a bit of a timeline of the business. And obviously having a small business, when it comes to dog treats, there's the licensing side of things is quite a big barrier to entry for people because of the cost of it. So there is quite a lot of people who are making dog treats from home and selling them without a license, which is one of those things where, like, probably a bit naively, people just think, oh, I'll just make them and then I'll just sell them to my friends, and then they set up an Instagram and they don't really research it, which it's one of those things, like, it's kind of like, oh, you're not this big criminal, but equally it's not legal to do that. So when you do it properly, there's a huge amount of expense with every single product line that you bring out in terms of lab testing and that sort of thing. I basically just researched everything and obviously came into making the business. And then the other thing as well was one of my big things was, I feel like in the dog industry or in the pet food industry, there isn't very much transparency. And this is something that I'm really passionate about, is that you should be able to walk into a pet shop and know what the best food is for your dog. But the reality is that you can't, because you look at all the fancy marketing, and quite often the best looking brands are quite often the least nutritionally valuable to your pet, and vice versa. So I think one of the things that I wanted to create with the business is also to create a platform for people to be able to basically learn how to navigate it, because it should be transparent and it isn't. And there were some things that I found out kind of in my lead up to setting the business up, because I've worked with dogs since I was like 13, so I'm very interested in it. And like there's a very, very big brand of dog food, which obviously I'm not going to name, but a very big brand of dog food that I found out put a preservative in their food that is known to cause cancer in dogs when fed over a long period of time.
Wow.
Which is, how that is legal, I don't know. But then you look into the trading standards kind of laws behind what you can put into products. And obviously this is it's the same with human food and everything. But basically it says that pet foods can contain substances that don't cause harm within 3 months of feeding. So obviously it doesn't, it's just something that if you feed your dog it for 8 years, I was so baffled by that I just thought that somebody needs to, so that's what I'm trying to do really, is to try and create a platform to educate people on so much different stuff, because there's that is like such like the tip of the iceberg with where the problems are, because you've obviously got you've got the raw feeding versus kibble debate, and then you've got this kibble versus this kibble debate, and there's so much, and for somebody who doesn't know about it, it's just so hard to navigate it, and you can't expect everyone to be an expert. So yeah, that's where I want it to go, and that's kind of where I'm hoping that we can create more of not so much a business. Obviously we have a business and we create dog cakes and exciting treats and everything, but I also want to create this community where people can basically know who to trust and who not to trust.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean my girlfriend's had a dog before, back in Germany. But yeah, I think there is a growing trend of like nowadays people want to know what's in their food, and they're more interested in having homemade food, and that transparency is definitely coming into human food a lot more, and it's starting to like come into dog food a bit more, because I mean people care about their pets sometimes more than they do about their kids, I think. So yeah, I completely, I mean, hands up, I was one of those people that, I mean, I started making treats and I have sold some to friends and stuff, but I think it's like I've done my research on my dog, and I've got books and stuff about my dog, and I think every dog is a little bit different. And like I did a little bit of research, I didn't realize there was so many like forms and stuff and things. I didn't realize it was quite as complicated as human food, because I did have a cafe a few years ago, so I know like the human food kind of regulations and all the red tape and stuff, you have to go through that. But yeah, I mean it is important that you know where kind of your food's coming from, which is why I started making dog food. But yeah,
exactly. And I think one of the big things that I always say is like, obviously, as you were just saying then, that people care about their dogs more than their children quite often. And that is true. Like the dog is the next child in line, basically, in most families. And the thing is that, 30, 40 years ago, dogs weren't seen like that in families, and that was fine. And your dog was your dog, and you just fed your dog what you fed your dog. And there is some people who still have that, have that attitude today, which is fine. And if you kind of feeding your dog the cheapest dog food because you don't really care, that's not where the problem lies for me. The problem lies where you have this dog that is your absolute baby, and you walk into a pet shop, like a big well-known pet shop, and you look on the shelves and you see some packaging which just looks absolutely amazing, and you think, I'm going to buy that for my dog because I want my dog to have the best. When actually, and that's the thing where I just think it's very deceitful, and obviously that's a really powerful word, like deceit, but I just do think that is how it is. And there's a big thing, one big thing that I've noticed more recently with a lot, because obviously natural and like 100% meat treats and stuff like that are like kind of what everybody's wanting to buy, because they don't want anything to be, have any fillers and that sort of thing. So what I'm finding now is that companies are putting made with 100% meat or whatever on their packaging. So like someone who walks into pet shop sees made with 100% chicken, you think, oh, that's 100% chicken, but it's not. It was made with 100% chicken. So 4% of it might be chicken.
Yeah.
But to anyone who doesn't know that, especially if the food is made to look like meat, which often it is, And I just think that's just so bad. But yeah, so that's kind of, yeah, I just think that when you just are feeding your dog the cheap stuff because you don't care, then it's fine. But obviously for the people who are trying to do best by the dog, that's where I just think that it's not on.
Yeah. What brands would you kind of recommend then? Rather
Well,
than we won't diss any brands, but what brands, generally speaking? Because obviously it kind of depends on your dog, but what brands would you?
yeah, it's definitely to do with feeding the dog in front of you. And I think you also have to take into account how old your dog is and what you fed it its whole life. So we talk about in the industry, we talk about 80-20 kibble, which is like extremely high protein kibble, which is essentially like your raw food version of your kibble. So it's 80% meat and 20% vegetables. And we talk about that, but if you've been feeding your dog something that has contained 4% chicken its whole life and it's now 10, if you switch it onto an 80-20 kibble, the richness of that is going to upset it a lot. So you have to kind of go through the motions of building it up if you've had a dog that hasn't been fed maybe the best quality food. However, with that said, there's so many brands, like to even name a few. So you've got so I feed my dog, she has Butternut Box, which is a fantastic brand, and it's basically cooked, it's like home cooked food, but obviously it's designed with a nutritionist and everything, and it comes frozen and it's great. And obviously for people who don't like the raw meat as well, it's great because it's cooked. And since being on that, she's changed completely. She's quite a yeasty Shih Tzu, and her coat is beautiful. So they're a really good brand. But then you've got like Fourth Glade is really good. In terms of kibbles, you've got Origin is a really good kibble. There's loads, but one website that I would recommend everybody have a look at is called allaboutdogfood.co.uk. And it's written by an independent nutritionist. And he basically rates foods out of 100%. So if you go on there, it's quite shocking sometimes when people go on there and they go on and they see that the food they've been feeding their dog scores like 30% or something like that. But if you go on there, you can see, and then as well, if like I say, you've been feeding dog a low quality food, you can build it up slowly as well, rather than just going straight to a
really high, really rich kind of food. If you want to send me a link to that later, I'll put it in the description.
I will.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I mean, we kind of did a bit with Lily's Kitchen. I don't know if you...
Yeah, Lily's Kitchen's good, yeah. This is the thing about when people ask me about good brands, I'm like, all of a sudden I get a brain blank and I can't think of any. But yeah, there is obviously loads of good brands, and Lily's Kitchen is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much when we went into Waterstones when lockdown wasn't happening, in that in-between bit, and we saw there was a Lily's Kitchen cookbook, and that's what I got, and I use that for inspiration quite a bit for the type of food that we want to kind of make every now and again. But
yeah, one thing that I would probably say is that making your own dog food is something that you should really seriously consider, because lots of people want to move away from, people think kibble is like just processed crap, but I mean the word processed in itself is like, it's seen as this bad word, but like if you cook your food, it's processed, it's just a process.
It is.
So
yeah,
it really depends on, unless you know, it depends what you call in processed. And if a kibble is made from 100% meats and vegetables ground up and then dehydrated or cold pressed, then nothing about that processing is bad for a dog. So I think, but some people move away from wanting to feed processed food, and they think, I'm going to go to Waitrose and buy, loads of really good meats and feed it to my dog, which is fine. But obviously there's a lot more to it, nutritionally balancing a dog's diet, especially with like a puppy or a young dog. So going for something like Butternut Box over making your own food is probably, unless you're going to do a serious amount of research and probably a qualification in dog nutrition, I probably wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, we use Tails because we were kind of recommended it by a lot of friends. And it was really good for a while, but then I think she picked something up on a walk and got quite sick, and then has got that memory association with it, and now she doesn't like the dry food anymore. Right. So we had to switch. I can't remember what dry food we're using now. Wags, I think. Pooch and Mutt. Sorry, I just heard from Mag.
Yeah, they're another good one.
Yeah. So yeah, we we had to switch, but because I didn't realize that dogs could have that kind of association. Like we would occasionally give her scrambled eggs as like a treat as well, just like plain scrambled eggs, no butter, no salt or anything like that. Which she loved as like a little treat. As like, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they can have an association, but sometimes they just go off things.
Yeah.
So it might be a coincidence that it was the timing, but she may have just had an association. Yeah, dogs are funny like that. It's quite a lot of people, I think, are finding when they're getting puppies, because they want to feed them the best food. This is the other thing that is really important. I don't know if this podcast is really the place to talk about it, but is creating value for your dog, like creating a high value of food to your dog. So when people buy puppies and they feed them raw food from day one and they feed them out of a bowl, it just devalues food for the dog completely. And obviously, if your dog's being given raw food out of a bowl, they're never going to take a training treat off you in a training session and work for it, because they just don't, there's no value to it. Mm-hmm. So you need to make sure with a puppy from day one, when it comes to any food, is that you're making sure that you're creating a healthy, valuable relationship with food. And you do that by feeding high value foods, but always make your dog work for it. I think in an ideal world, nobody should ever feed out of a bowl. Now I know that, that's just kind of the culture that we live in. You feed your dog out of a bowl, but really you shouldn't ever feed your dog out of a bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, we always give her lots of praise when she's eating, just because when she was a puppy, she was quite fussy. Well, she would have little bits and then come away and then keep coming back, and we would just kind of give her lots of praise. And now if I'm making a coffee and she's eating her food, she'll come up and make sure that she gets praise because she ate. But what would you recommend then for rather than having a bowl? Because I've heard new techniques of people just kind of scattering food. Is that
so scatter feed? I think it depends what you feed. So my friend got a dog from the RSPCA, a staffy called Jeff, in September, and she literally has the foolproof amazing routine with him. So first of all, routine is one of the most important things, which sometimes, especially in lockdown, it's really hard to have with a dog, is routine, because you don't have a routine yourself. But if your dog knows when it's getting fed and it gets used to being fed and eating at certain times, it will just continue to do that. So when you put food on the floor, for example, and then your dog doesn't eat it and it grazes all day, it's got no routine. It knows that the food's not going to be taken away. It just doesn't really care. And then people after that will give it and then take it up, but the damage is sometimes already done. So what she does with him is she gets up first thing in the morning, they go straight on a walk, and she measures out his kibble allowance for the morning. She takes it in a training treat pouch, and then she trains him constantly on the walk with kibble. So things like loose lead walking and checking in is something where basically every time your dog looks at you on a walk is something that you really, really want to encourage, because with any dog, even the most well-behaved dog, if your dog's used to checking in with you, they're less likely to run off. You're more likely to get recall from them. You're more likely to get focus back from them if they get distracted by a squirrel or something like that, if they're used to always checking in with you. So basically every time he looks at her, she gives him treats. And when she was loose lead walking, and obviously she was using them for training, she just uses him constantly for training throughout the first walk, which not only exercises him physically, also exercises him mentally, which is one of the more important actually, really, than exercising them physically. Then when she gets home, if he's got any left, she scatter feeds it around the house. So then he's all over all the different rooms looking for her all around. He then pretty much has a nap for her morning of work. He then has a Kong at lunchtime. I think he has a licky mat in the afternoon with peanut butter on it about 3:00. And then she does the same with his evening meal on a walk. So that's the perfect enrichment for him, because he gets so much mental stimulation out of it. Food to him is really high value because it's always fed out of something. But obviously I know that that's not achievable necessarily for everybody. So I think one of the most important things is just buy Kongs, buy puzzle toys, and buy licky mats, and just feed your stuff. But scatter feeding is one of the easiest ways to feed a kibble diet, for example, because you can literally just scatter it in all the rooms in the downstairs of your house, and your dog will keep occupied as well for half an hour or so.
Yeah, keeping your dog mentally stimulated. It's like us. We need to be mentally stimulated all day, otherwise we're just not going to cope very well.
Exactly. So. And people, when people go out and run, they're like runners and they'll run 10 miles a day, but how long does it take them to run 10 miles? What do they then get home and then they're exhausted for the rest of the day and nap? No. Are you more tired when you've been at work and you've sat in a chair all day and you've looked at a computer all day and done mentally stimulating work like you are? And that's exactly the same with animals. And this is where people make the mistake, because they're like, I'm walking my dog for 2-3 hours a day, and it's like, yeah, all you're doing is getting your dog fitter, but you're not teaching him anything, and you're walking him on one of those dead tight halty leads and not letting him sniff anything, and he's just getting nothing out of anything.
I think it's very important. Like, humans need stimulation, and so do dogs as well, not just walking.
This is it.
Let's talk a bit about some of your products and your range. So where did you start off with? So where did the idea come from? Like, what was your first kind of project that you started working with?
So I wanted to create a variety treat box, basically, that would come through your letterbox every single month, that would be basically handpicked to your dog's preferences. And then every month you can then say, if your dog didn't like something, you can let us know and we change it and we won't send it to you again. Or if your dog does particularly like something, you can we'll send it more often. So that was the basis of it. Now, obviously, to do something like that, you need a huge product range. And this is where, when I was looking into all the licensing, I kind of fell foul of it, because with the initial testing of all your homemade products, it's hundreds and hundreds of pounds per product line. So then, to do something like that, you're going to have like a wide variety of products, which then there was this big money block in the way. So I just brought out our two kind of first products, which was liver brownies and Hunter's chicken. And all our products are completely grain-free, all human-grade ingredients. Obviously, we're licensed, and we try and make sure that our products aren't too high in fat, they're high in protein, a lot goes into them. And the fact that they're high value is like one of the most important things to us, because we want most dogs to eat them, basically. We brought out those two, and liver brownies to this day are probably our most popular products, because they are super high value. Hunter's chicken we have discontinued just because of the lengthy process that it took to make it, but we've brought other treats out since then. So we started with those two, and it was a bit of one of those things where, like, obviously I had a product that I wanted, but I needed a lot more variety to do it. So I kind of just brought these two products out on a whim, because I'd been working on it for a year. I needed to get around it. So we did like a lot of we had our online store, and we did a lot of events in the local area, and we built that up. And then we brought out our vegan range. So our vegan range has a lot less kind of lab regulations around it. From a cost point of view, it's cheaper. And our vegan range is where our birthday cakes came into it. So we brought out our initial birthday cakes, which looked so different to the ones that we have out today. So we started our birthday cakes, and then we brought out our peanut butter bites and pumpkin pies. And to be honest, our whole range now is pretty much built on those as a basis. And our birthday cakes now, we have 3 different types of birthday cakes: the mini, which is probably our most popular, the standard, and the premium. And then we have our peanut butter bites, which we have like breed biscuits, where you can get biscuits that look like your dog. Personalized biscuits, that's all our peanut butter bites dough recipe. And yeah, they're all super. So our peanut butter bites are literally grain-free flour, banana, and peanut butter. So they're like real simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we bought a box a couple of weeks ago from recording this, and she went mad for those the brownies.
Yeah,
and it's really weird because they did somehow smell a little bit like brownie. Like they have like a kind of like chocolate. They like, if I just smelt it, I wouldn't have ever known that there was liver or anything else in there.
Yeah, oh really? I feel like they do quite smell like liver, especially when I'm baking them.
Yeah, I think when you're making them, there's probably a different kind of tone going on, but yeah.
Yeah, no, they are. And I think I like we kind of humanize our brand quite a lot. So we like all our products to not kind of look or not necessarily look, but sound like they are like dog food. So our liver brownies are obviously a dog spin on the human brownie. But yeah, they are the dogs, they just go mad for them, and they're great for fussy dogs, and they're great for training because you can chop them up and stuff as well. So they are really good base product, those.
Yeah, and we had some of the peanut butter cookies as well. I love the fact that like how much of a range have you got of the cutters? Because like I'll put a picture up as well for people who are watching this, because it does look like Mocha, our dog. So how many different cutters have you got for different dogs?
Got literally hundreds now. So we basically with our breed biscuits, they started actually from a PR package, because we did a PR package for a couple of miniature Dachshunds, which had loads of followers on Instagram, and we did them a birthday cake, and we found these miniature Dachshund cutters, and they were so cute, and I was like, wow, imagine if we could get those for like other breeds. And it basically just built from there. So now we have a massive range of lots of breeds, but then basically if anybody has a particular breed that isn't listed, say, on our website, they can message us and let us know, and then we can try and source a cutter for them. I'm hoping to get a place where we can do bespoke cutters, but I'm not quite sure how that would work yet.
If you had a 3D printer, or someone who had a 3D printer, that could work.
The thing with it that is, I've had a couple from places that have 3D printers before, and they just don't quite work in the right way. It's to do with our dough is very, very niche, let's say, that we make the biscuits out of, and you have to have a specific type of basically a specific type of cutter to use on it. So a lot of standard cutters don't really work that well with it. So, but yeah, we're looking.
Yeah, it looks like quite a firm dough. So I'm guessing you need more like a kind of cutter that kind of imprints better. Like the plastic is probably too thick, I would guess, for it to put into the dough.
Yeah, it's a weird one. We're experimenting on it all the time, though.
That's cool. Do you have just one cutter and you have to cut them out individually, or do you have a stamp kind of cutter?
Most of them are done with one. It all depends on which one it is, but yeah, most of them are done with one. We have some that are big sheets that kind of you can cut loads out of, but it is all handmade, and it does all take quite a long time.
Yeah, I can imagine. When I've made little biscuits and stuff, it takes forever, and I normally do kind of tiny stars or something as just nice little reward treats, rather than I've done some big ones before, but the reward ones, they work really well when we go and take off for walks and stuff.
Yeah, the good ones.
So I'm guessing you've got dogs.
Yes.
But you've got hundreds of lovely dogs on your Instagram. So what dogs have you got?
Let me find my dog. Where is she?
Cool.
Missy, come here. Oh, good girl. So this is my dog. This is Missy. She's a little Shih Tzu. So I got Missy in December 2019. I got her on the 10th, and I was actually fostering her initially. So I have worked with the RSPCA for a long time, and I worked at a kennels where we house 3 of the kennels are rented out to the RSPCA. So we house the dogs basically while they're rehabilitated and rehomed when they come in for whatever reason. And she came in very strange circumstances, where apparently she was given up, but she came in disgustingly filthy, has evidently had a lot of puppies, and with another entire male that apparently were just well-loved family pets that they didn't have time for anymore. Now, in my opinion, you don't keep your well-loved family pets like that. She was then spayed. She had a really traumatic spay. And I think from overbreeding, she had a lot of issues inside. So she was really, really poorly. So I fostered her. It was only supposed to be a foster. And then I just couldn't give her back because she's so cute.
She's very
cute.
Most
likely in probably a puppy farm type environment. She's a beautiful Shih Tzu. I don't know, you can't probably really tell on this video, but she's really petite and she's got a gorgeous face. Although it's a bit flat because you've been sleeping on it, haven't you? But she's got really nice conformation, so she probably was bred from a lot.
Yeah.
She's mine. And now I would have other dogs, but I think because she was so poorly, and then she obviously associates me with her getting better. She has this massive attachment to me now, and she's not got separation anxiety or anything, but I just don't think she would be very happy if I got another dog. And so I think that I'll just keep her for now. I might get another one at some point, but at the minute I just feel like she deserves my full attention because she's had a horrible life, probably.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, we keep saying if we had a bigger place, we would probably look at getting another dog, but our space just wouldn't allow having two dogs at the moment.
Yeah, and we have as well. So I, when I used to live with my mum, we got another one, and he was from the RSPCA as well. So he's a little Cavapoo called Teddy. So he does appear on my quite a lot of my like marketing photos and stuff. He does appear on. So yeah, he's my mum's dog, kind of my old dog, I guess, from when I lived at home. But yeah, they're my dogs really at the minute.
I really hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here is Maddie with a little update of how she's been since we recorded the episode.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Oh my god, I've just noticed all my paint samples behind me on the wall. I'm decorating my house and I can't decide on a warm grey. Anyway, yeah, I can't remember what we spoke about on the podcast now, but I hope you enjoy it. Loads of things have happened since then. We've got a bakery and boutique open now, so that's really exciting. We're having a full commercial kitchen put in the back of it as well, so hopefully next week or the week after, so we can make even more cakes. And yeah, we've got loads of new products launching, some really new exciting stuff. So if you guys want to follow any of that, then make sure you follow our socials. And obviously, if you have any questions for me, then just drop me a DM. Enjoy.
Thank you, Maddie, for that little update. We now sit back into the conversation with Maddie telling her origin story.
So my story is that I was obsessed with animals since I was literally like came out of the womb. I said my parents always laugh because dogs especially, but I was just obsessed with animals. And when I was about 3, I think, when my parents bought me my first rabbit for Christmas, and they were so excited to give it to me, and they'd put the hutch in the lounge and obviously shut the door, so I didn't know it was there. And on Christmas morning we went into the dining room and like opened all the presents and whatever, and then they were like, we've got this other present for you. And I went in, and apparently like I looked at this rabbit and I was so happy, but within like about 2 seconds I said to my dad, it is very nice, Daddy, but when it dies, can I have a dog? When I was literally like 3 years old. So I was just absolutely obsessed. So yeah, I grew up, I was quite academic at school, and I horse rode from being young. Never got a dog till I was like 20, I think it was, or older. But I horse rode at school, but the thing is I wanted to do something that was kind of higher than minimum wage job. And the problem with working with animals when you're working in kennels or stables or all the things that I did from so I got my first job at kennels when I was 13. It's just not very well paid. So I kind of decided that I was going to go into an academic career and have animals on the side. So I went to work for a company called KPMG, which is a big accounting company, and was going to be an accountant, and then just didn't get on with it, didn't enjoy it, and thought I just need to do something else. So came out of that and ended up going back to my old riding school just because I was desperate for a job and I just rang around everywhere. So went back there and then thought, right, how am I going to make some proper money with a proper career out of animals? And then that was where the Posh Pet Kitchen was born.
Amazing. Yeah, I guess once you've kind of worked with animals, you don't really fancy working in a stuffy office.
No.
And I guess like working with like charities and stuff, the money kind of goes more towards the animals rather than the staff. I'm hoping that's where the money was going towards, more the animals than the actual people. Yeah,
and I think I think what it is with animals is that the amount of time animals require for there's when you work in, like you say, an office or something, and you say you're an accountant and you're doing people's accounts, and you can charge a lot for a bespoke service, and that's how you kind of make the money. Whereas when it comes to animals, it's really hard to make those margins, because so much, when you work at a kennels, for example, you know, so much time goes into caring for every single dog at the kennels. You walk, you feed, you spend time with, you clean constantly throughout the day. But realistically, how much is somebody likely to actually pay to like board their dog at the kennels, for example? They're not going to pay £100 a day. So that's why I think it's difficult to make those margins in those industries. And yeah, with charities, obviously, then it just goes money kind of goes out the window a bit, because everything just goes to the animals. So what I'm hoping really to do is to create, obviously, the brand that I said, and a community where people, basically a brand that people can trust. And I want to do more kind of educational stuff about food and choosing the right food, and things like choosing the right dog trainer, doing the right habits from having a puppy, knowing all that sort of stuff. And I'd like to create a centre with a dog hotel, but also with a big rescue centre on site as well.
Amazing.
And the business can fund a lot of charity work. We already did, I don't know if you saw, we did a Christmas pudding campaign at Christmas.
Yeah, I think I saw that, yeah.
So we basically sell Christmas puddings that people can buy, and then we make them and donate them to dogs in rescue homes who don't have somebody to buy them a Christmas pudding.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice that you're kind of giving back to the kind of community of dogs and stuff that kind of...
And raising awareness around rescue as well, because I think it's a bit of a taboo subject, rescue, because I wouldn't ever buy a puppy, but I understand why a lot of people do. But I think I just really want to encourage everyone to please look into rescue, because it's not just aggressive staffies. It really isn't. And it's not easy finding a rescue dog. Is like one thing that I think people think, that when somebody says go and get a rescue dog, they think, oh well, yeah, but it's so hard because I went to this rescue and they told me that I wasn't allowed to have this dog because I have kids. And it's like, yeah, but did you just ring one rescue centre? Or did you just look on the one RSPCA website or whatever? There's hundreds of rescue centres in this country. And my dogs, I have a little Shih Tzu that weighs 5 kilograms, and I have a Cavapoo, which is like the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. So both of them are brilliant with children. They're just lovely dogs, and that is the sort of dog that you can get from a rescue centre. I think when you've got young children, that is like a big block. A lot of rescues do struggle to rehome with young children. But other than that, there is just so many dogs in rescue centres that are looking for homes, and they really are so appreciative. This is part of the thing with her, is I know how much she just loves me, and she loves, just having someone that she's never had in her life to cuddle her. And this is why I don't want to get another dog, because I feel like it wouldn't be very nice for her.
Yeah. I mean, we looked for probably over a year or so. We've been constantly like checking out rescue sites. We did end up getting a puppy. Just because of the circumstances, like we were quite close to getting a rescue, and I think one of the reasons why we went for a puppy was because it was going to be my first dog, and it was during lockdown, and we had some really bad experiences with kind of looking at adopting a puppy from someone who, the guy turned out to be like just trying to like scam us for money, and we still wanted to try and get the dog away from that guy, but it was kind of during lockdown, so we couldn't really go anywhere. And it just kind of worked out that we got Mocha, which is our puppy. But I think if we do get another dog, we probably will look at rescues a little bit more. Now that we've got a bit more experience, we kind of wanted to make sure that we like fully equipped, because like with a rescue, there's more work and more more you have to think about, I think.
This is so funny you say that, because I don't think there is.
Okay.
But obviously this is it's different people's perspectives as well. And I know that some people have had bad experiences rehoming rescue dogs, but I also know a whole load of people that have had bad experiences getting puppies. But you just hear a lot less about that, because the media, like the way that people are. I mean, these dogs that I've got, so the two that I got, both were completely house trained from day one. They're both good with other dogs. They're fine to be left alone. They're all there socialising, and everything that you'd possibly need from day one was done. They didn't bite all the time like puppies do. They didn't chew the house up. I didn't have to toilet train any of them. There was, to me, they are so, the thought of having a puppy to me just fills me with dread. I just think I couldn't, with the whole, because they're like toddlers and you have to watch them all the time. And
Yeah.
But also the other thing that does sort of play on me a bit is I've seen so many, when puppies are in their socializing period, for example, you end up with a dog. This happened to my mum's, my best friend's mum. Her dog got attacked when it was a puppy, and now it's reactive. And she got it because she had a dog. She had a job where she worked with dogs, and she needed a puppy, and that's why she got a puppy, because she wanted to make sure that it was okay with other dogs. And now it's reactive.
Yeah.
So really badly reactive as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just probably your perception more than anything else.
Yeah,
but it does depend, because obviously when you have a rescue that's like lots of these Romanian rescues who are terrified of everything, the amount of work that goes into that is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other reasons why I think we led towards, I mean, we found the person who was kind of breeding the dogs, like they were absolutely lovely. They kind of showed us photos of, they've got like a massive land, and we knew that the dogs were treated well. And also it was, to be honest, it was easier to convince our landlord, because we're renting, to get a puppy rather than a rescue, because they didn't really want the property chewed up by a rescue. I think that was the other kind of like decision that kind of helped us with getting our dog. And like we love her. Like she's like the best thing that's kind of come into our lives, really. Especially during lockdown, it kind of helped us. Apart from like, you know, the first month or two where we couldn't go out because she was waiting for her vaccines and stuff. But yeah, like she can be a handful, but yeah, we love her.
You love them, don't they? It's one of those when all people have like funny personality traits, don't they? So when dogs do, it's just like we don't mind because we love them.
Yeah, and like her toilet training, I think she maybe had like maybe 5 accidents, but the 5 accidents that she kind of had were when we weren't paying super attention.
Yeah,
and it was our fault. It wasn't her fault. She kind of tried to tell us, and then we just weren't quick enough getting her out. But I mean, I think we've been very lucky with her. But I know that some dogs can really struggle with toilet training and stuff.
Yeah. It's just about consistency. It's literally just what you just said then. When you watch them all the time, it's actually not that difficult, but lots of people don't or can't. So then it becomes more difficult. Yeah,
it's easy when you pay attention. You can see and hear the signs that they try and give you as well, because they are trying to talk to you.
Yeah, and they do sniff around and stuff like that, don't they, when they start needing to go.
Yeah. So I kind of guess, are you working on a shop at the moment for your brand?
Yeah. So we have a shop. We aren't allowed to open at the minute because we sell dog treats, which are like a complimentary pet food. However, we may be bringing out a complete pet food soon. So as soon as we can do that, we will open. And obviously the restrictions, who knows when they're going to change. But it's given us a bit of time to kind of get it all sorted. We were actually looking for some, because we've just done this home-based and like, there's just stuff all over all our houses. So we needed some storage space more really than anything else. And then this little shop came up in this village near where I live. And it just seemed like the right thing. And it's a really dog-friendly village. So yeah, we'll be opening our bakery and boutique probably about 2 weeks from now.
Amazing. So by the time people listen to this, hopefully you will be open and established.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, most likely.
That's exciting.
We opened it as we got the keys, I think it was like the 18th of December. And obviously I was like, obviously we'll open in January. December is also our busiest time of year. And I think the 18th, I can't remember even now, but is the last posting date. So we'd kind of done our work. And I just thought, like, why not open it as a pop-up shop? We obviously had like surplus products left because we way overbuy for Christmas because we sell so much stuff. So we had loads of products left and stuff. And I just thought, let's just open it as a pop-up. We literally gave the whole place one lick of paint and put like a table up. And yeah, we did really well in 5 days. We sold loads of stuff. So yeah, we have kind of opened for a bit and then obviously closed again. And then we'll open properly when everything's decorated and stuff.
That's so cool. Whereabouts is it based?
It's in Poynton, if you know Poynton. It's near Stockport.
Okay.
So yeah, it's on the main street of Poynton. So yeah, it's very exciting.
I'll put links down to your website and everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, but that's really exciting, and it's really exciting to hear that you're starting to bring out. So, are you starting to look at like a dry food kind of kibble kind of thing, or?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a dry food. The original one that we're bringing out is a 65-35 kibble. So it's not super rich. We've got 2 recipes: divine duck and sumptuous salmon. I think is what we end up with. Yeah, we've sent it off, so I think that those were what we decided to call them. So they're kind of novel proteins. Dogs, they're kind of higher allergens are chicken and beef in food, so we've tried to stay away from those. And obviously they're all grain free and full of kind of whole ingredients. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I'm pretty sure that we will certainly try kind of what products you're bringing out as well.
Yeah, definitely, and we're gonna get it on allaboutdogfood.com as well. So obviously you'll be able to see its rating compared to other foods and stuff.
So we were just finishing the conversation there, and then we kept on talking after the kind of interview kind of portion. But I kind of wanted to put this last little conversation in, see you back at the very end with a little bit more chat. See you in a bit.
So I went to Morton Moral College for a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was doing animal physio there.
Nice.
I took my horse to uni and everything.
Really? How, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. Okay, I was way past college. So yeah, because I'm turning 32 tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you. I went to Leamington College, and I did music technology. So there was occasions when we would put on gigs and stuff over at Mocha. So yeah, I have been there, but only for like putting on gigs and stuff like that. So
yeah, so I went when I left KPMG, I was working at a riding school, and then I was like basically trying to think of what career with animals would make me money, because like, as kind of shallow as that sounds, like who doesn't want to be financially stable in life? So like that's what I wanted. So animal physio is one of the things that I thought, and I thought, oh, that would be really good. But like, having did the course for a little bit, I had a bit of a nightmare of a year as well, because I ended up losing my horse. Like, it was an absolute nightmare.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't the best start anyway. But I think I'd realised that, like, rather than, I didn't want to be an animal physio, I just wanted to have my own business with animals. So to do a degree in something that like is quite niche, and then what was that really going to bring me? Probably all I was going to do is set up my own business anyway. So I realised that like it probably wasn't. So I started 2 degrees, dropped out of both. Don't have a degree anymore, but have a business that makes dog cakes. So
I mean, you've kind of won in the end, haven't you? Really? Like, yeah. I'm
definitely where I'm meant to be now.
I mean, hopefully at some point down the line, when we're not in lockdown, we might be able to come and check out your shop.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm hoping to do loads of things like charity walks and stuff, like once obviously COVID is gone, if that's ever going to happen, where we can all meet again, but you know, where we can all meet at the shop, go for a nice walk, have little dog canapes.
Amazing.
And stuff like that. So little events like that where if people are traveling, it's quite kind of like a worthwhile, exciting thing for them to attend, and obviously all money and stuff can go to charity. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to attend something like that.
I hope you all enjoyed that episode. It was really fun talking to Maddie and something a little bit different. I think if you've got a dog or you're planning on getting a dog soon, I think that conversation would have been really good. So little updates from me. After this episode, I have 2 more episodes of the podcast of season 2 coming out, and then I am hoping to record the odd episode here and there and edit it, but because I'm back at work full time, I'm not going to be able to record and edit a full season. So definitely make sure that you are following me on whatever platform you're watching this or listening to this. And hopefully I will be able to release the odd episode here and there. Yeah, as I kind of said in the beginning, we have had Mocha for a full year, which is why it's quite nice having this episode. We went over to Coventry Farmer Market, which was really, really nice. Had some good food. It was quite nice to be out and about into a socially distanced market. It was very nice. Kind of makes me want to have a go at selling stuff in markets again. So hopefully kind of more autumn winter time I might be able to get involved. So I've been able to fix this barbecue smoker, which is really exciting. Be able to cook some meats in there, which I'm looking forward to over the weekend. I've also just bought a pizza oven, which we're going to have in the next few days, hopefully. We just paid for it and it should get delivered soon. And the other big news is I got my first vaccine booked. So we're driving over to Birmingham to go and get my vaccine on Sunday. So hopefully I'll be able to tell you how that goes. But for now, I hope you're all having a great week, enjoying a bit of sun if you can. I will see you next Friday with another episode where I'll be talking to Tessa from T-Zines. So make sure you check in for that. Right, stay safe and have a good one. Bye. I really hope I don't have to do the intro again because the birds are really loud around here.